Hey, what's up everyone? It's Duncan from 4xtouring.com, and that is the weather. It's 11:30 in the morning and it's been like this for the past several days. It's not nice. I've had a problem. Now this is a video I did some time back where diagnose wasn't charging, wasn't starting. And I thought it was, something to do with the airflow sensor. And I did a video some time back, and when I fiddled around with it, it came back to life, started working. So I thought that was the problem. But then it's come back. It came back twice. Now, what I have noticed is this problem of it's not starting comes about when it's always humid like this. Now, diagnose stays parked in a carport. It doesn't stay inside a closed environment, and it doesn't run. As those of you who've been following me for a while will know, how diagnose stays parked until the next, whenever I decide to go somewhere. So the engine doesn't turn over as often as it would with a daily runner. And what I noticed was every time it stays parked and the weather is like this and it's a lot of humidity, the starting problem comes. And now, yesterday I tried to start it and take it out for a drive. It wouldn't start, and it was getting late in the day, so I didn't bother to check what was really going on. But today I thought I'll try and figure it out. Now, again, I have to admit I am no mechanic. I just have very, very limited knowledge. I've also spoken to a few people who have better knowledge than I do. So I'm going to go through a process of elimination and try and figure out. And hopefully I'll get it started, and I thought I'll share that with you on a video. Now, one of the things as I crank, the engine cranks, when I turn the ignition on, all the lights come on, and when I turn the key and it cranks, but then thereafter it doesn't fire up. Now, it could be fuel starvation, you would think. Well, I get the smell of unburnt fuel coming through. So what that means is there's no fuel starvation, fuel's coming through, but there's no spark, or it doesn't get ignited. Again, with my limited knowledge, that's the conclusion I've got to. So it's electrical, and I am thinking it could be either the distributor, the dizzy as we call it here in Australia, or it could be the coil, one of the two. Moisture buildup, and once moisture builds up, then it could, obviously there's no spark. So I'm going to go through this process of elimination. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll work. And I thought I'll share that with you on the video. And those of you watching, who are far more knowledgeable than I am, and who might be a trained mechanic, if you've got any similar experiences or your input, please leave them in the comments below. So let's go take a look. And got my toolbox down there, and I've also got myself a hairdryer, Ajanie's trusty hairdryer, so I can start drying stuff up. And then let's take a look. So now there's the distributor, that whole unit there, and of course there's the coil over there, and that goes into the distributor there and gives it the spark. So that's my simple way of thinking and looking at this problem. And my thought is there's either moisture buildup in here, or moisture buildup in there, or there's moisture buildup in there. So that's what I'm thinking. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hairdryer and try and dry this up. Now, at the same time, before I venture into removing the distributor, because I'm thinking there could be moisture buildup inside the distributor, and that obviously, when there's moisture, the spark doesn't happen as efficiently as it should. So obviously, the engine doesn't start. But before I go and remove the distributor, I want to go through a process of elimination. I just finished drying up the coil. And then at the same time, this contact over here. So So this contact over here, I feel there could be moisture going in there as well. I'm not too sure whether there should be a boot here that covers it up. I'm not quite sure. I haven't compared it to another 80 distributor. So those of you who are watching, if you know, please leave a comment below. I'm going to take this out and and dry it up and see if there might be a bit of moisture in there before I get into opening the actual distributor cap itself. Because if this is where the problem is, or if the problem was down at the coil there, then I've pretty much identified where the problem could be. So before I get into the distributor, I'm going to try and pull this out and take a look. I don't see too much moisture in there, though even a tiny little bit is good enough. Now, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I see a little bit of moisture in there, or what appears to be like moisture. So I'm not sure whether the camera picks it up. I'm going to try and clean it up a little bit. And perhaps throw in the hair dryer. Give it a bit more of a clean. And she goes back in again. Yeah, all right. All right, so I've got those two dried up. So the coil and the little, whatever you call it, this little unit here, I've got it all dried up. And I'm going to give it a crank. Hopefully that would have done the trick. If not, then I'm going to have to open up the distributor cap and take a look inside, because if moisture is building up inside any one of these, and particularly inside the distributor cap, that's not good, because over time what will happen is that moisture is going to turn the contact points into corrosion, and then you've got a bigger problem. So let's see how it goes. Let's give it a crank, and hope for the best. Have I left anything lying around? No, always double check, because I'm very guilty of leaving stuff lying around before I start the motor, and then I create more problems for myself. All right, so here we go. Fingers crossed. All right. Woo! Yes. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So figured it out. So it's either the condenser or the coil, or it's that little plug-in unit which I cleaned a few minutes ago. So thankfully, it appears I don't have to go into the distributor cap. So it seems the problem is not as bad as I expected. Now the question comes in is, what do I do to seal that unit? But before that, according to the weather forecast, the weather is going to be pretty miserable, just as it is right now, for the remainder of this week. So today is a Monday. The remainder of this week, it's going to be like this, so they say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it run for a little while now. I'm going to switch it off and I keep it parked for another 4 or 5 days, and then come back and I see if I've still got the same problem. And if the same problem is there, I'll do another video, and I'll again try and clean the same 2 units which I just did. And if it cranks, then that means I'm 100% sure that's where the problem is. But the next time, if cleaning those 2 units doesn't work, then of course I'm going to go into the distributor cap and figure that out. So let's see. So, well, please leave a comment below. You might have had similar experiences with your 80 or any other older model vehicle, especially one that has a distributor. And I'd love to learn from you guys. So thanks for watching. Hope it was useful, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already.